Whenever you prompt a user for a response, you'll be doing that in order to assign a value to a variable. Therefore, you need to assign a value to the variable. But what if the user doesn't give you an answer or gives you an answer that doesn't conform to what the script needs? That's what we're going to look at in this video. First, we're going to start off with the case where we are protecting from a user who does not enter a value. Here's an example that has a script which requires 4 arguments. But this script is not handling it properly because if the user doesn't give it 4 arguments, it moves on and terminates the script. If this code was within a larger script that relied on this input from the user, then there would be a problem because the user didn't enter any input. Let me first show you the script running and then I'll go over the code here. Okay, so let's just run the script with no arguments and see what happens. It tells us that we have to enter the 4 arguments: city, state, dog type, and car type. But it didn't re-prompt us after it prompted us this time. It just moved along and the script terminated. Alright, let me run it with, let's say, 2 arguments. So here's the script name, and then let's see, it wants a city, let's say Detroit, and the state, let's say Michigan. Hit enter. Tells me you must enter the arguments for city, state, dog type, and car type, but it moved along and it terminated the program anyways. Now, let me just show you what happens when we enter the proper number of arguments. Okay, here I'm entering the 4 arguments it wants. Well, then it feels lucky and it says, okay, let's do my work, and it does what it's supposed to. Okay, so that's the situation. Alright, let me show you the code for the program. It has an if statement. If the number of arguments is less than 4, then give this message. Otherwise, do what the program is supposed to do, and then terminate. So, if the number of arguments was less than 4, all it did is give a message, and then the script terminates. Okay, well, why can't it do something about the fact that the number of arguments is less than what it wants? That's what we're going to be talking about. Okay, I'm going to show you a different script. Okay, let's go line by line. Read, with a prompt, the vehicle type. While there is no vehicle type, in other words, while this string is empty, do, and what you're going to do is repeat the request. So, after that request, either the user gave a vehicle type or didn't give one. So it goes to the top of the loop, and it checks to see if the vehicle type, if this string is empty. If it's empty, then it echoes the request again. If it's not empty, it terminates the do loop. And then it echoes out the value. Let me show you the script running. I'm going to run it, and the input is not as arguments that the first script exam was. Okay, so it's going to prompt me, so I just need to enter the name of the script. Okay, what type of car do you drive? Well, I don't feel like answering, I'll just hit enter. I'm not going to answer again. Okay, or again. Okay, let me give it an answer. Let me just tell it I drive a Mercedes. Mercedes-Benz, okay? Thanks, now I know you own a Mercedes-Benz. Okay, so this is one way that a script can deal with an interaction in order to guarantee that the script assigns a value to the variable which we are trying to get a value from the user for. Another way that the script can deal with this issue. Remember, right now, so far, the previous script has dealt with it by repeating the question until the user gives an answer. Another way, instead of repeating the question, is if the user doesn't give the answer, just have a default value. Let's see what that looks like. I'll show you the action of this script first before I show you the code for the script. Okay, I'm going to run it. How many fingers do you have in your right hand? Okay, let's say me, the user, I don't give an answer. You have 5. So it assumed I have 5 as it told me it would assume. Okay, let's try running the script again. Okay, this time I want to explicitly tell it that I have 1 finger. Well, this time it accepted my answer because I gave it an answer. So that's how this type of response works. Now let's look at the code. Alright, it reads the number of fingers. If the number of fingers does not exist, then it assigns it 5. if the number of fingers exists, then it just skips the loop and it tells me how many fingers I have. So far, we've learned that scripts can deal with this issue, first by ignoring it, and second, by repeating the question until the user gives up, and third, by assuming an answer if the user doesn't give an answer. The fourth way will be to actually validate the answer. In other words, look at the answer and see if it's an answer type that we will accept. Before, all the other methods didn't care. As long as there was an answer, then that was good enough, and it used that answer. First, let's take a look at how this script behaves. I'm going to run the script. How many toes do you have? I'll tell it X, R. Dang on it, how many toes do you have? Okay, I'll say 2. Dang on it, how many toes do you have? Alright, I have 13 toes. You have 13 toes. Alright, let's look at the code. The code is basically the same as the previous script, except here we have a regular expression, which is right here. And we also have a not sign. Instead of a dash, I think it was V. Okay? So, first it asks us how many toes do we have. Then it sees if our answer matches the regular expression. If it does not match the regular expression, then it runs the command in here, which is to say dang on it and then repeat the question. If we did properly answer the question, then this loop is skipped and it just gives us the output. And when it repeats the question, it rechecks to see if the answer is good. If it's not good, it repeats the question again. If it's good, it gives us the output. So that's how we make sure we get a proper answer when we ask the user for an answer.